Hey, good afternoon. It's Brendon Payne with Century 21, the Harrelson Group here on the Grand Strand. And thank you for opening this quick video. And what I wanted to do, I get a lot of questions from people where, when they realize the numbers and they realize that the difference in volume that agents and companies do, then they want to know, then tell me what's important. What makes a difference to me whether or not I hire my neighbor, my friend, my relative that's in the business, or Brendan, whether I go and I hire somebody who, with numbers like you, is doing a ton of business, but what's it really matter? Because most people right now, they have one property that they may be selling at a time. So frankly, they may look and say, that's great, you're selling 150, 200 properties a year, but I only have one and I don't care about the other ones. Here's why it's important, and this is a really good illustration of the difference, knowing now, which you probably have read either on my site or in general, the average agent, and this holds true in our market, it's probably lower, but nationwide, the average agent closes less than 10 deals a year. Okay, in our market, I think it's even lower. I think last year it was around 7.5 deals. Okay, so you can see there's a massive difference between somebody that may be closing 5, 6, 7 deals and someone who's closing 150, 200 deals. And here's really where it becomes important for the consumer. The first is, and the same goes for high volume companies. Okay, so whether you're looking at the individual agent or the company, here's the benefit and why you need to choose someone who's doing a lot of business. First is obvious. I mean, from a budget and a marketing standpoint, you can imagine there's a portion of every one of my transactions that is set aside for future marketing. Okay, that's how the business continues. That's how you generate more business. So if you're doing more deals and doing and selling more properties, then obviously you have a higher portion of money that you can spend on marketing, advertising, and things like that to actually help people get the job done as far as getting their property sold. The number two reason is the systems that they have in place. Now, a lot of this does come back again to the financial side of it, because you've got more money to spend on systems to make things quicker, to make them easier, to make things more efficient, so that the agent hopefully is spending the majority of their time on selling activities. I know when many agents first get into business, you have to do everything yourself. You're a one-man show. I was the same way until I built my business up and got to the point where I could hire staff, multiple people, to handle the administrative side and the servicing side. I was doing all of it. Doesn't leave a lot of time for actually going out there and being proactive with the selling. So the systems are a big portion of what allows the agent to free up their time to do hopefully what you hired them to do, which is go out and get exposure for your property, market it, and get the offers and the activity that you're looking for to actually get something that's going to work for you. Now, those two are great, systems and budget, but let's look at the practical side of things, okay? In order to sell properties, in order to get a lot of properties sold, and you want to have a lot of people that are looking at your property if you're a seller, it all comes down to potential leads, doesn't it? It all comes down to who has the edge on the buyer leads, and this is where it really makes sense. Now, when you look at lead generation, in general, we can talk about 50 different places that leads come from, but in general, I'm going to talk about two parts that, and I'm going to use real numbers and not inflated, just crazy estimates. These are real numbers, and they're based on our history, and I think this will bring it home for you. In 2012, as a company, we closed just under 1,100 transactions. About half of those transactions were buyers, and about half of them were sellers. I personally, in 2012, closed 132 transactions. So when you look at these numbers, let's assume halfway across 550 and 550 buyers and sellers for the company. Now, typically, for every buyer deal that will close, if you treat the buyer the right way and you've got a follow-up system and you took care of them when they're buying, you found a property to work for them and you met their goals, they're usually going to be worth about 2 referral deals over the first 18 months. That's pretty conservative. You know, we'd like to see more, some are less, but in general, that averages out to about 2 deals over the first 18 months on the buyer side. So 2 times 550 is 1,100 potential buyers that may be out there over the next, 12 to 18 months that now we can tap into. We've already got a relationship with them, and we're a trusted resource for them. They know somebody who did business with us and they were happy. They got referred to us. So keep that number in mind. Now let's go over to the sellers. 550 selling deal or listings that were closed. Now, on average in 2012, I was getting around 12 to 15 showings before I would get an offer. So 12 to 15 people would look at it. One person gets to buy it. So that leaves 11 to 14 people that looked at the property and didn't buy it. Now, some of them were working with me that looked at it, some were working with other agents in this company, and some of them were working with agents totally outside of the company. The fact is, 11 to 14 people saw that property, and now I know what they're looking for. So when you tap into that market, I'm just going to use, so it doesn't get crazy numbers, and you might actually believe that using 10, okay, just not even 12 to 15 showings, just say 10 people looked at it and didn't buy it. That creates 5,500 potential people that we know are buying, right? They're looking at properties, they're buying. Now maybe they bought something else, maybe they aren't buying for a couple months, but 5,500 leads, potential people. You put those two together, that's 6,600 people from one source. And that source is something no one else can compete with. It's the amount of closed deals that we had. Last year, in 2012, we outpaced the number 2 company by almost 40%. So this is something, before we spend $1 on marketing, before we spend $1 on internet, on advertising, on Google pay-per-click, on any of the things that we do to generate buyer leads, this is what we have in front of us just from the work that we've already done, from the closed sales that we've had. Now the key is how you convert those, and that's a whole nother part of this training and a whole nother part of the explanation of why we do so much business. But I wanted to make sure that you had a good idea of why it's so important to hire a high volume agent, high volume company, and really it just comes down to massive domination of the leads that we're going to put in front of your property. So thank you so much for taking a look at this, and let me know if you have any questions and how I can help you out. Take care.